joining today's call. I'm so much happy you're here. And today we're going to talk about a very important topic in technical writing called docs as code. And today would not be so much practical. Tomorrow will be very, very practical, but today we'll do a little practical. I would try my very best to go in depth, very detailed, so you understand how it works. Because so many companies nowadays they rely on doc sites. It's very difficult to see any company that doesn't have that. Although it depends on the kind of market they have. But docs is very important. And most of the times, there are jobs that I get freelance is just docs alone, and it doesn't have to do anything about writing. And some companies you will join, they will say they need you to have the docs experience, how to build and manage docs, and the writing part, SEO, and all the rest. So today we'll start with what is docs as code. So as the name implies, documentation as code. So meaning you're treating your documentation the way you treat your code. So it's an approach to writing and publishing documentation with the same tools and processes developers use to create code. So developers use VS Code to build softwares, and they use Git and GitHub to store, transfer their code from their local system to GitHub or any cloud code storage that is available. And that is for developers. Now, writers normally just use, Google Docs, Microsoft Word to do proofreading, to do reviewing, and publish. But things have changed. So most companies now use this approach called docs as code. So you see developer using VS Code, you are seeing a writer also using VS Code. Developer using Git and GitHub, a writer also uses Git and GitHub. You see a developer using a CI/CD, system to automate their process of checking, testing, and deploying. Also, a writer does the same thing. So that is why they call it docs as code. So the same way developers treat their code is the same way you treat your own document. So, which is wonderful. And that brings the love, the energy you have between writers and developers compared to designers and developers, because we shouldn't go to the fight of designers and developers. But because of this approach, writers are now very close to engineers, meaning engineers would find it happy to review your work because you are in their space compared to probably doing things on Google Docs, and they're like, I'll go to Google Docs. But you're in their space. You have an article you have written, it's on GitHub. But when you publish it, you have a publishing platform that will show everything on GitHub well designed. That is where the docs as code, energy came from. So it's a very nice approach, and most companies are implementing it. So many are implementing it. And if you have that skill, it will be a very good one. So now doc as code, like I said, it treats your document like code, leveraging tools and processes from software development using so many tools they use. The CI/CD tool, the GitHub, is it GitHub Actions? I use GitHub Actions to also automate my process of deploying my documents. Developers deploy using GitHub Actions. You can also use CI. You can also think of any one. You can use that to implement your docs, just like the way you do your code. So that is why I've said that from the onset, that if you want to be a technical writer in this software engineering space, you need to be very technical. So this you're getting the technical part of it. So now, what is the advantage of docs as code? Version control system, like I talked about, the Git automation. I like most of the times, I just sit back and I just feel very happy that I would be reviewing people's code and just when I'm done with reviewing the code, they will get a notification that hey, the reviewing section is done. That it's time for them to check what is there, any comments or stuff using pull request. Very awesome. You know, I want to deploy. I use GitHub Actions to deploy. Just push from my local system and it will just deploy direct. And while deploying, I could also add a few things to check if there are grammatical errors with code, and no, that is wonderful. So that is the advantage compared to when you're using just the normal traditional way of writers, not using the docs as code approach. So then collaboration, it encourages team collaboration and contribution. So that's why you go to some docs, you see, um, I don't know, they put it like, you see a GitHub sign, or you see edit. So you have that access to just go and make edits compared to when you're using Google Docs and you go and drop a comment and it's not making sense at all. But this will now foster the collaboration between writers, engineers, and probably anybody that can use um that can use it's okay that can use GitHub. That is fun. You have this open source world. You don't need to probably make anything. Some persons have already written their own system in a way. You make any changes that is necessary, the bot will go through it. If everything is necessary, it will automatically merge it and it's there. If it's not the right format, you probably get a notification that you need to make some changes. This is how writers now do things compared to the way they do it before. So this approach, brings a lot of good things. One, like I said, the version control. Second is automation and the collaboration with the engineers. Because as a technical writer in a software engineering firm, you would definitely work with your engineers, and you need to be on the same wavelength with them before you probably would work very fine. Okay, so now this next part I want to talk about, it's a very important part. So, which is the planning of the documentation site. You want to build a doc site, you need to plan. Now, the planning has a lot. One is understanding the user's needs and expectation. Okay, so in this section, let me open. I think I'll go with this. Let me start with the first one we have here by Sejat React. So if you can see my screen, let me know in the chat, please. Put in the chat or emoji. You can see the React documentation screen and see your screen. Okay. All right, thank you guys. Okay, so now looking at this doc site, one question you should ask yourself is, what were they thinking before they came up with this kind of docs? Why would they want to have a search? Why did they have all these navbars here? And why did they have it like this? The font size, let's go down, these codes, and why did they have, all this? It starts from the planning. One, they understood the users. Okay, the users coming here are beginners and they want to understand React. So look at the table of content. So you have the quick start. Okay, you have this tutorial, thinking React, installation. This is under the quick start. Okay. So you have this under quick start. You have the installation, you have the describe the UI, adding interactivity, managing states, and escape hashes. So you see what they did here? They tried to break this thing into categories. The next one after quick start is installation, meaning we've told you about what React is, and the next is installing React. Then in that installation, category, you have starting a new project. So after you're done installing it, you can start a new project, add React to an existing project, editor setup. Everything about it is more about the setup. So when they planned this, they found out that the users will probably follow this journey, and this journey will be helpful to them because they've made the research. You understand why planning that this is what the users would need, and the users are expecting to have a section where they can try out. That's why if you go to so many learning platforms, you see the learning platforms that are helpful are the platforms that while you're learning, you're trying what you're doing immediately. For example, Code Academy. If you use Code Academy to learn, trust me, you would understand far better than if you use any course on Udemy or any course anywhere. Because Code Academy, as you're learning, you're doing it instantly, not like you're learning and 1 minute later, whatever you're doing by the left hand side, you're testing it on the right hand side. So they did that because they know that the users would expect to always want to test, and not just expect that at the end of the day, testing that stuff while they are learning would help them become better. Like you will learn faster, understand faster compared to any other platform. So the next is define their clear goals and objectives. So now Code Academy goal is that they want you to understand how to code. And the approach they use is learn. The approach they use is learn and test, learn and test, learn and test. That is the approach. Very, very important. Now, if you look at this one, you would see their approach is a bit different because this is normal like a course platform. This is a docs where you just come to learn a few things about the framework, get out few things you want, then you can go to a learning platform that would now go more in detail. Now look at how they arrange this. Let me see if I could open a different one. Okay, it's Get Bootstrap. Okay, so if you can see my screen, you would see Get Bootstrap. So you would see, where is it? Get Bootstrap. So the Get Bootstrap has almost same settings. They understood their users and they know that their users would follow this order to understand this Bootstrap. Now, the first of all, they have getting started, where you getting started is just to welcome you to the docs, give you a few things, more like overview of the docs. Then the next they have is download. So when we've given you all you need, now you need to download it. Then the next is content. So let's see what content means. Discover what's included here. Okay, this is the content. Browser devices, learn about the browser devices. Okay, JavaScript. Bring JavaScript to life. It's optional. Okay, built-in with jQuery and all the rest. Okay. Now you've downloaded it and you probably have a way to play around with JavaScript. You learn about the theming, build tools, this, and you learn about their layout. So under getting started, you have this, and the next one is the layout, where you now probably now learn about how to, build a very nice web page using this. So you need to know how to structure your web page using this layout. Then next is components. So under the components, you have every other component you can think about that they have. The nav to the list to all the rest. So now, one thing you should understand, what they all do is they have their different goals. Because like I said, the first is understand the user's need and expectations. So you coming to this platform, you want to know how to use Bootstrap in your own projects, in your JavaScript projects, maybe in React or Angular or any of the front-end frameworks you can think of. Now, because Bootstrap, have these components that are already built, that you probably just make a few changes and you just get up to speed, makes it faster for you to be productive. So that is what you expect. You just want to come here and get it out. So look at what they did. So when they are explaining everything, they are giving you examples, they are giving you images. Now with the you copy this. Once you download the Bootstrap in your project, so once you download the Bootstrap in your project, you have it up and running. Just copy this and paste it. You're going to see it. And oh, okay, so let's continue. So if you copy this, you would see it here. Now the first one is a primary color is blue. The next in secondary color is this. And now you see how they made it easy for you to understand how this works. So this is how documentation should be. So you copy and you paste it on your own section. You're seeing that exact same thing you're looking for. That is how it works. So they have several components here because they expect that you would search for the component and you should see a pre-designed component with an example code, and both the images and everything you need to test and be faster at that. That is what Bootstrap expects from you, and which is why they are giving you that. So if you go to React, you see that React is expecting that you should know how to install and how to play around with the basics of it. So you come here, you see the describe UI, another describe UI. Everything here is talking about how to work with React UI. So if you're done with this, the next is to interact. Now you've known how to build, and I want you to understand what they are trying to do here. You know, if you're learning how to build, if you're starting out in front end, let's say you're just starting out, not React, you want to learn how to work with HTML. You know, first thing is to learn the HTML structure without no colors. Just know how it works, know how to work with your layout, push things to left, to right, to center. When you're done with HTML, the next is now talking about CSS. Now bring color to that stuff, make it look beautiful. Then if you're done with the CSS, the next thing you should learn should be JavaScript to bring life into, because at that point everything is dead. It's just looking fine, no movement, no action. You bring JavaScript to now bring life into that dead component. So here they are following that same thing, which is how things should be. Are you guys coming late today? So here they have the quick start, which is to welcome you to the docs. They have installation, which is install, learn how to install this thing. Then they went straight to the describing the UI, know how to work with the UI, know how to do a few things. Then when you're done, now interact with what you have done. You try to do some actions. Okay, so now the next point is to structure. I've talked about that. Structure your content for easy navigation and so that we can discover it faster. So we learned about information architecture. So you would now bring what you understood from information architecture down to building a docs site. Looking at this right now, it's a question to everyone. So I'll probably give you one like, I'll give you like 3 minutes to answer that, put it in the chat. So look at this React docs and tell me one thing you think shouldn't be here. Just one on your own. Because my last point is structure the content for easy navigation. So, and when you structure a content for easy navigation, people can discover and find things. So look at it, 3 minutes, and tell me what you think should be removed or added here. All right, then. Not seen anything yet. Hello, can you hear me at all? I can hear you. All right, so I'm waiting for a response in the chat. So look at somebody drop something. State as Snapchat. So also try to put where you think it should be. All right, so while we're waiting for you, let me get to the um, next section. So the next section here is choose. I'll come back to this. So the next section is choosing the tech stack. So I will probably call it choosing the static site generator. So static site generator is just like a static web page that you will use in designing your docs. So there are several other static site generators you can think of. So in this case, you will probably make research going through their documentation to check their strengths and their weaknesses. So from that, you can now know the one to pick from. Okay, so now let's check. Um, okay, all right. Guess we have it here. So we have a lot of them. A lot of them. So from here, the filter we have 351. That is a lot. So, but you will have to pick one. So if you're working in a company, you have to pick just one. And now you're picking one because that one fits your needs. It's not like that one. We don't have the best. We only have the one that fits your need. What you need at the moment, that one fits it very fine. You use that one. That is the only way you choose. You choose because it fits your need. Because, like I said, there is nothing like the best out of all of them. No, there is no competition here. All right, so we have the first one here, next.js. So let's click. Oh, we're not taking that. Okay, so next.js is a minimalistic framework for server rendered React application as well as statically exported React app. So, and you can deploy to Netlify, but you can still deploy to other platforms too. So let's go over and check. So you have Hugo. So Hugo is a static site generator written in Go. So which means if you have Go experience, this will be much easier for you to blend with. But you have to check a lot about Hugo. So this is not the official. So you go over to the official site. So you check Hugo is the most popular open source static site generators with this amazing speed, flexibility, makes it better. All right, so now Hugo has different teams. They have a community. So now let me give you one tip. So when you want to choose, you're checking for a lot of things. You're checking for speed. You're checking for the language in which is in building that. So if that language is something you know, it's an advantage. So if you are a Go developer, working with Hugo will be much easier for you. But like I said, not just that point. You have speed, you have the language, you have the community. Community in the sense that if you have issues, you're sure that you have a huge community that might have faced somebody in that community might have faced that same issue and you get a solution faster. But a framework that has a small community, that doesn't mean it's not good, but you have you have to spend much time fixing a problem because you might be the first person facing that. You understand? And the community is small, so which means maybe one person might be responding to you in 6 months, just one response in 6 months. But you have a very large community, The next day you get a response. Okay, I've done this before. This is the solution. I get it solved. So you're checking for speed. You're checking for the language compatibility. You're checking for the community, and you're also checking for some other cool features that I like. Like if you check here, you see it has a search. So you check if the framework you want to work with has all that inbuilt, because it will take you much longer time to start, implementing that from scratch. When you go to a platform, let's go back to this React. You see they have one thing, they have this search. You can search the docs. That makes it easier. And they have day 19. This is ninth here, so automatically it just fits in. But if you don't want that, you can just go back to, yeah, I want to work with this, or let me just take this one. And they have this GitHub here, meaning that you can make changes to this particular docs. I guess they should have. Okay, now how do you like this docs? Take our surveys. So if you click here, I think it will take us to GitHub to see if we can make changes to this. Okay, so this gives us the releases alone. Let's check their code. So installation. Let's see. The main purpose of this episode is to contribute to evolving code, making it faster. So we are grateful community for contributing bug fixes and improvements to read below. So if you want to contribute, you read here below to know how to contribute to the docs. So the features that I like is having the day 19, then having the search. Very, very important. When you go through a docs that doesn't have this, like the other point I stated, easy navigation and to discover things faster. So easy navigation, you have your search to also help you to navigate here faster. You want to search for something, let's say you want to search for, what should I search for? Okay, let's search for state. And you're having state as Snapchat. Somebody pointed that. So they have it here, updating React. So we click and it takes us to here. So which is under adding interactivity. So you see the essence of chat, search, very easy. So they have a community attached to here. So the feature that I like again is the search, and you're having this day 19, and you have some of them, but this is more like this is more on the, not where you just view. They have their SEO compatibility. So meaning that you don't have to do much when it comes to the SEO. What they need from you is just to get your Google Analytics ID, import in, just put it in and you're good to go. But when you have some that don't have that, so you be the one to create it from scratch, which is very, 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 very tedious to do. So we have Gatsby, we have Jenkins, that's been popular, we have Docker Sirius, Nox, we have Let's Go, we have Slate, and we have Gitbook. So I would like to talk about Gitbook. Gitbook is one that I like, and Gitbook is very good because you don't have to, how am I going to put it? You don't have to be a developer to even use Gitbook. Gitbook has two sections. If you want to be like a developer, they have a section for you. If you know you're not a developer, they also have a section for you. Let me see if I can. Gitbook, okay. Let me see if I can open my space. So Gitbook is very, very awesome. So that's why you see most companies use it, because it's very easy for you to get up to speed with Gitbook. Sorry, I need to sign out. How am I going to sign out? Oh, okay. Oh. So now this is Gitbook. This is my company's. Oh, what's the problem? Okay, now, so look at this. As let me say I'm not a developer and I want to make changes to this. So you come up here, let's say you want to make changes here. You just click inside, click this plus, and okay, let me go up. All right, so you can come here, click plus. You have all this paragraph, heading 1, heading 2, hint, code block, insert image. You click it to just give you an option. Let me click and show you. You browse, go through, and you select, and that's it. Very easy. But the other platforms don't do it like this. The other platforms, you will have to use Markdown, put your image in your GitHub file, locate where the image is with Markdown to locate the path and put it before it shows. But this, you don't just click here and you're good to go. I know most of you be probably, I want to work with Gitbook. We're not going to use Gitbook. So you have embed URL. You want to embed a table, embed a card, tabs, you embed tabs. So here, you write this here, you add this. So whatever you put here is different from whatever is here. So come here and come here is different. So this is how Gitbook works. Very, very easy. So, and like, very easy for you to work with. So like you see, you don't even need to be an engineer to work with Gitbook. So that's why most companies you go to, they use Gitbook because Gitbook is very easy for you to work with. Okay, yeah, sorry, I did not show you something. So Gitbook has a nice feature, the SEO feature I talked about. Hmm. So integration. So look at their integration. So they have this Google Analytics, which I set up myself. So it's easy for me to set this up because it's already been designed by the Gitbook team, and it's just for me to just put my Google Analytics ID and we're good to go. So, but imagine we don't have that. So I will start looking for a way to build that from scratch, integrate it. So they have other integrations, this Figma, you can also do that, Slack, Maybe you have this Runkit, you have Jira, Mailchimp, GitHub Files, Sentry, Storylane, GitLab Files, and this. And of recent, they added, I guess they added an AI section where AI would now make it, AI would just like you do, type something in the AI, I want to write about this, it will write about that for you. So, but I can't go in detail with that here because this is a company Gitbook. So I'll probably create a new one, then we can walk around with that. So that is how Gitbook works. And that is why so many companies use them because it's easier for you to just get up to speed with that compared to most of this that you have to create from scratch. Now, but the benefit with them is you can configure the way it looks. Most Gitbook have one look, but you have some that are different. So let me go to a company I worked for. So now they use Gatsby for this, and you look at this docs, see how sweet it's looking. So this design was designed on Figma, and they had to replicate that design here because Gatsby will give you that flexibility to create your design the way you want. But Gitbook will not give you that flexibility. You can only have that same look. Let me see if I could open. Okay, yeah. So let me open my company docs here. So the way you see it here, that is how you see it everywhere. This is how it looks like. And at the end, you see the powered by Gitbook at the bottom of the screen. You have everything by the left hand side and this. So it doesn't change just like this. Then at some point, if you pay, they have a much higher plan where you now, instead of having everything here, you probably now have, at least they call this one nav bar. You have some nav menu here. But Gatsby, MKDocs, and so many other static site generators, they will give you that flexibility where you can design it the way you want. Look at how this looks different, and this is how they want it. This was created on Figma, and the developers now designed it just like this. So, like I said earlier, there are so many things you will check before you decide to choose. But on the business side, that's why most companies or startups use Gitbook, just so you just have what to see, what to be looking at first, while they will probably have, have in the pipeline to have a new docs where they will have everything they want. So you have ViewPress for those that are working with Vue. Like I said, the language also matters because you need to work with something the language you're used to, and check speed, check if you can have a custom setting where you can change, check if it has inbuilt search, if it has inbuilt okay, let's check this. So I guess this has most of those features. All right, so let's go over to ViewPress. So ViewPress, let us click their plugin. So with ViewPress, you see official plugin, they have back to top where you click. If you go to the bottom, it takes you to the top, has active links, has blog. So you can add blog to your docs. So has the Google Analytics. You can add it automatically. Last updated, you can add it. Media zoom, you can add, they have inbuilt search. So you can just add this and you have a search in your docs. So you have some other features, and now they have the right plugin. So if you go and you probably, okay, I didn't see the kind of plugin I wanted to add day-night theme. So if you don't have day-night theme, so you have that flexibility to create your own. So now, which means you can do that yourself if you can find it and contribute to the community. So if you go to some other ones, they might have this, they might not have that. So that is how it works. Okay, let me open one I did with Doxify. Let me check this one I did with. Sorry, that's fine. It please. Can't be cooking and you're here. Okay. All right. So we have this one. So this was created. I used Doxify for this. So and this is their UI, and this is how it looks like. Very, very simple. So you have this GitHub here. Click here, you go straight to my repo, and you can make changes to this. And the UI is just, this is how it is. You cannot make so much changes to this. So this is looking very plain and very simple, Doxify. So this is Gapsy. So when checking, there is a lot you check for, which I've already stated out before you can pick a doc site for your company or for your startup or for your idea. I don't even get the question. I can hear you now. Please, is this class being recorded? I'm not sure the class is being recorded. Maybe it's being recorded. Okay. So do you have any question before I continue? I think you should have a question. All right. So while waiting for questions, now, also why why checking for the docs, you also put in mind that some people they check the docs via mobile. So also make sure you check a responsiveness of that platform. So if you check Doxify is not responsive enough, and you have to do a lot to make it responsive, you know, you probably might want to think to go to any other platform that has that responsiveness for you. Now, and some of them have teams that would give you a head start, so you don't have to be thinking a lot. I know one that has a lot of huge team. Yeah, Hugo has a lot of teams. So this you can, let's go to Hugo, let's go to teams. So now you see they have so many teams to help you start up. So instead of having that plain Hugo teams, you can come here and pick any one of your choice, install it, and start using it. So these are, I guess I've used this one. So let's click this. So this has a demo. So let's click this demo to see how it looks like. So this is how it looks like. So getting started, this is the docs, and they have a blog in that doc. So you can have a blog in the docs. You click on the docs, the help. So you look at it, it has inbuilt search, you have inbuilt day 19, you have social media, you have this GitHub, and you also have a menu and also have a nav bar. So this is pretty cool. And look at all these cool features. So you can click here to go to next when you're done, or you can click back to previous. I also have this by the left hand side also to help you, no matter how big your docs is, you can just go to the very top quickly. Fine. This will make it easier for people to navigate your docs. So to me, this is very cool, and this is a good head start. Okay. So going back, you have so many other teams to pick from. So many. Just go through anyone that fits what you want, you can pick it. Then in case you didn't see what you want, then if you have a Go experience, that is where that language compatibility comes in. So when you know a particular language, it's always good to pick uh, a static site generator that also uses that language. So if you're good in React, you work with Docker very well. You work with some other ones very well. You also work with Levente very well. But if you're good with Go, Google will be your go-to. You know how to work around with it. Jenkins, I think is Python or Ruby or something. So if you know that, let's check. There's Jenkins. Jenkins is Ruby. Okay, yeah, Ruby. So look at the Ruby. This is Go. Next is JavaScript React. Gatsby is JavaScript React. Tuxedos is JavaScript React. So you also choose anyone according to the language and so many other features. All right. So any question, guys? So I think you should have a question. Now again, it's important to note that building docs from scratch is a very good experience. You really enjoy that a lot. Okay, guys. So any question before we wrap up? All right. So while waiting for question, so tomorrow's class would be very practical. So I would like everyone to get their laptops charged and ready. Um, Install VS Code if you don't have one. If you don't have it installed, install it and get ready because tomorrow you're creating a docs from scratch. No matter how simple it is, but we'll create one from scratch. Now we are creating one doesn't mean we're using one particular Docker code, so we're using any one. So I'll probably put you guys into teams and you just create from there and we get to see it. All right, so thank you guys for joining, and we have a take home. You have a take home assignment. The take home assignment is tomorrow on the call. I would like every one of us to go through the docs that I've shared so far. So let me share the link. So go through this and pick one that you think you're comfortable with, you like. State the reason why you like it and We'll put everyone into teams according to what they like. Then we can work with that. All right, so let's hear from somebody wanted to ask a question. Okay, Rosita will drop it. Call recorded. Call is recorded. All right. Somebody has a question. I can't see that again. All right, Silvanus.
I wanted to ask if you now you're writing on a particular static website generator, and you now decide that I want to change it to this particular static website generator. Can you just import your content from one static site generator to another?
Well, I don't think that's possible, but most of them work with Markdown. So because of that, you probably just copy the content, but you can't copy the design, just the content to the next one. So that is the only way you can move it, just the content. So most use Markdown. A few use async docs, but that is too far. So let's talk about Markdown. Majority of them use Markdown. So once you want to move from one to the other, you just have it in Markdown. As long as everything is well designed, just copy the content, it's Markdown already, paste it, it will work very fine. All right, guys, any other question? And hope you guys, yeah, okay. Hi, Susan. So hope you got my question. Please and please, I would like every one of us to be ready to move.
Good evening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Good evening.
Sir, please, I don't even know whether my question is kind of making sense, but
Okay, go
I
on.
just want to I would just want to ask,
All right.
like I'm trying to get my head wrap around this whole dogs, like I mean, what is the importance and how does it connect to the whole? I know it's technical writing, but I'm just trying to get my head wrap around the whole dogs thing. I mean, the practicality, the importance, like
All right. Sure.
to benefit when we start using dogs. Like,
Yeah, sure.
I don't know how to put it.
No,
I'm just
I
kind of
understand the question.
trying to,
Yeah, I understand the question.
understand the whole thing.
Sure, sure. Okay. I understand your question very well. Your question is very, very important. But I have one issue right now. I've been trying to pay for Google Premium and been having so much issues. So I would create a new Google Docs right now and share it so we can join there because this is 1 hour. So I hope they get to let me pay for that tomorrow so we don't go through this step again. So I'll share a new Google link and we can join that one.